Did we answer your...
I'm 16 years old, and my whole life it's been my dream since around 2004 to become a director. What would you suggest for someone my age to get into the business and all that stuff?
The way I got into doing movies was by making a short. What did you do before Kicking and Screaming? Had you filmed things?
Not really. I'd done some filming at school, but we were right before the digital cameras became so sophisticated, and or things that you could just pick up and shoot. When you shot a short, you had to shoot. It cost real money to do a short, and it was not just a thing. We'll get together every weekend with my camera. Now you can really just make a movie. You can make a feature.
The only thing now is that the thing is now at that time also there was no way to show the movie unless you had got to a film festival or anything. But in a way,
we were also right on the cusp, I think, of this sort of transparency or seeming transparency of what to do after you've made it, after you've made the movie or the thing you want to show. I remember I had some concept of independent versus studio that was totally wrong. It was just. I didn't know. I had this whole I would say with such authority to people. Well, we're going to either do it this way or this way, and I just didn't know what I was talking about.
I knew I was obsessed with this legal notion of a limited partnership.
Yeah, I formed a limited partnership.
You did.
Yeah.
That was that's where you go to your dentist and you go to a dermatologist and they each put in.
Well, the Coens had done Blood Simple with dentists or something. Yeah.
Yes. That's right. That's right.
And you sort of would hear, I feel like I would collect all the stories of Soderbergh did it this way and Spike Lee did it this way.
Those were the ones, they had those books.
They had their books too, which were great books about...
I would say Spike Lee, for me, I don't think if I had not read, I was excited by the movie and then I read the book and without that, I don't think it would have occurred to me that there was a way to go about this.
I know, that was a great book. I liked, and the way he... I remember even he just had an entry, I'm going to run the titles, I'm going to run the crawl in the reverse order. Instead of going up, it's going to go down, Kiss Me Deadly.
Right.
But that he was thinking of all that stuff,
Yeah.
Spike Lee Joint, he'd sort of figured all that stuff out.
It's all in this journal.
Those books are great if you can get a hold of them.
Spike Lee's got to have it.
Yeah, and Soderbergh's got a Sex, Lies, and Videotape diary that's really great.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you just...
Thank you.
Sure.
Hello. I'm a film archivist here at NYPL, so this may not be the most original question, but it's kind of my MO. How important or significant is it for you to create a tactile cinema, something that has to be physically manipulated either in front of the camera or in post-production?
Well, for this stop motion, I think that was part of the whole idea of it was to do. I was interested to do stop motion with fur, puppets with fur. That was, for whatever reason, it was the textures of puppets were what interested me, kind of in the first place to do the movie. So it was the center of it, I guess. So. Sorry,
even now when digital houses are really excited about the fact that they've created digital fur, that the Lion King's fur, the first film, is very different from the latest. So it was still important for you to do something that was painstakingly hands-on.
Yes, I think I'm not. For me, it was just I am kind of interested in old-fashioned techniques anyway, just in general. So that was, I didn't go through a process of comparing or anything like that. It was just a kind of automatic.
The whole, this is the thing that we've talked about before, but I think is interesting is the whole how digital, I feel like in a popular way, people understand, they shot that movie digitally, or the Red camera shoots movies. But I feel like the whole digital intermediate thing. This it goes away from tactile and animation. This is just talking about all movies now. Maybe I'm saying something everybody knows, but I feel like film critics don't even quite understand this. The way movies look now has changed because everything now is scanned digitally and then put back on film. So even if you shoot on film, you scan it digitally, you color correct it on a computer, and then you put it back on film. And so you're going from film to digital to film, whereas you used to actually color correct on film. And I did color correct Margot on film, and it was a nightmare because
the best guys aren't
do it
working on
anymore.
that.
So even trying to do something old-fashioned was sort of pointless in that instance.
The other interesting thing about a digital intermediate is now we're so comfortable. Like we're not big technology guys, I think.
No.
But nevertheless, editing has changed so much because if it's going to be digital anyway, you can split screen and you can take out this thing here, and that you can manipulate things a bit,
right,
in a way that was just totally unheard of before. Before it was, if the boom went in the shot a little bit, it was kind of a disaster, and we might have to lay out $15,000 or something to remove it. And now it's just part of the process.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how long we've been doing this. Is this like one of those where everybody's like, I cannot believe they're still sitting up there? Are we on about the right time frame, or is somebody in a position of authority? It's almost 9, and when did we start?
I'm not sure.
7. Wow, that's pretty weird.
So that's like 2 hours or something? Okay, we'll finish these questions. Yeah, we'll do these questions quickly.
We'll stop.
Hi. As an aspiring director, I'm curious about your process this time with your actors, moving from live action now to really directing them only vocally, and sort of what changed in your process and your communication techniques with that.
Yeah. I don't think anything did. The way we recorded them was it's faster, but everybody went to this farm together, and they often had this dialogue they were reading. They didn't have their roles memorized and practiced, but it was like a rehearsal. It was like rehearsing a scene, but they were rehearsing the whole movie. And we had a movie sound man who was recording everything. He'd get the mic a little closer than you could, and we didn't have to figure out anything visual, but they played out the scenes in the same way together.
So it wasn't like in a sound booth or anything?
No, we didn't do it that way. We sometimes went back and added things, and we would do those in a sound booth. But for the initial recordings of the movie, it was all on location.
And you get a different quality. I mean, it's something no one will notice specifically, but you get a different quality of sound that way that is great. I mean, it actually is outdoors.
It is a movie kind of sound recording. And there was one thing, not to drag this out. I know we only have 2 more to do, but I would just briefly say one thing. There was a thing that happened during the there were some accidents that I think were the result of that type of process. And one really good one was that we were playing the scene where in the movie at one point they see this wolf off in the distance, and it's sort of a big moment in the story. And George Clooney and Jason Schwartzman, my brother, they're all kind of mesmerized by this. And I said, well, let's get somebody. We were on the bottom of this hill and next to these woods, and I said, well, somebody go be the wolf off there so they can watch, and it'll help set the mood. And Bill Murray was staying there with his hands in his pockets, and he went up the hill, and we waited while he went, and he went a long way away to where he was just tiny. And then we said, okay, let's do it. And he was so good as this wolf. I mean, he was a wonderful wolf. And it was almost as if he had practiced it. And I remember while we were doing it, it was really setting a mood, and we were getting a good performance from the guy. He didn't have any lines, and Jeremy, who's there, our producer, he took out his phone and started filming Bill playing this wolf, and we brought that back. We brought that to England with us, and we gave it to the animator, and he animated, uncredited Bill Murray as this wolf. And it was very memorable, and he was good in it. So anyway, thanks.
So I was wondering if it's not Jacques Cousteau, and it's not too incriminating to tell us, I was wondering who inspired, or maybe it's you who inspired this character, Steve Zissou.
Jacques Cousteau.
I knew it! I knew it!
I'll go on record.
I had a feeling about it. Well, I actually have two questions, but I'm the last person, so I think that's okay. One is I'm a huge fan, and especially of your soundtracks. Like, I find the Rushmore soundtrack and the Tenenbaum soundtrack are often like kind of the soundtracks of my life, because I'll just put them on and walk through New York City, and I just are so inspired by them. And I know Mark Mothersbaugh had a lot to do with those, and I think a few other ones. And I'm just curious kind of about music and how you choose your, the songs, and also just the compositions and everything. And then my second question, just while I'm up here, is all the art direction. And I know with Tenenbaum's, like your brother, I know did a lot of the illustrations. And I just find your attention to detail, like the game closet, or of course Zissou, like when you see the cross section of the boat and everything. It's so impressive how like every single thing is just, you really think about it, and I can really tell that. I don't know, do you work with like the same art directors for everything? Is it you? I'm just curious kind of on both ends.
Different people on different movies. I think with an animated movie, the nice thing is if you're interested in sort of the design of the movie, that's a thing where, that's a form where you get to design everything. So every prop, we can just some little still life in the scene. We're going to have to make each thing from scratch anyway, so each thing is an opportunity to find something funny or some special thing, or connect it to something with a character. So that I really enjoyed about doing stop motion. It's it's a very slow, it's a gradual process, and there's time to kind of develop lots of different visual things.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe we'll finish by talking about music. Like when does the music come into it for you?
I think it depends. I mean, I guess it depends. I mean, I feel like music. There's a music sort of works twofold, because I mean, we've talked about this. It becomes sort of an inspiration in a way that it may never make it into the movie way when you're writing or talking about scenes. And I mean, when we did Life Aquatic, we had the David Bowie stuff was obviously something scripted.
Yeah.
But
what about Street Hassle? Street
Hassle at the end of Squid and the Whale. I think no. You know what it was is Dean Wareham, who did the music. He and Britta Phillips did the music for. They did the score, but he had given me a lot of music that he just thought sounded. But I remember we were playing it, and I was using the whole the sort of cello, and then you said, the Simple Minds did a cover of it.
Yes,
but I think you said at one point, why don't you just keep running the song? Because I was sort of cutting it off at a point, and you said, why don't you keep playing it? And then it was great because it had, because I was sort of thinking, well, Lou Reed, it might be too. I don't know.
I don't remember that, and it makes it sound like I just set it up for you to tell a thing that I came up with. But I thought it was a really. I remember when I didn't know you were going to use that song, and when I saw it in the editing room, I thought it was very. I knew that I knew the ending of the movie. I knew what to expect from the ending of the movie, but
it was great is that once it kept going, it had even more emotion because his voice was so emotional and great.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember you and showing me in Life Aquatic, you had with the pirate attack, I remember you had scored it, and then you also had Iggy Pop playing, and you were going back and forth whether or not to go score or the song. Do you remember that sort of thought process?
I do remember it, and it's it's one of those things where there's so many different points in the making of the film where you have a musical idea.
Do you score first and pick out the songs, like the Kink songs, or the hardest geometry, like, what is it, Problem in the World, which is amazing. Like, are those thought out beforehand, and then you put it to music, or are they watching it, and then...
Yeah, sometimes I have some musical ideas before, but they come in every step of the way.
So it's kind of just all
I will say, I think a good thing for us to end on is, for this movie, the real musical center of the movie is this song that Jarvis Cocker performs in the middle of the movie. And that was, we had written these lyrics, and Jarvis made the song, and it's like a kind of English hillbilly or something performance.
Yeah, well, that's something when we wrote it, we didn't know Jarvis Cocker would do it, right?
No, we hadn't thought of it. We just had this sort of... I think it might have had some inspiration from the Disney Robin Hood, Oodalali, Oodalali.
Right. Which was a cartoon we both really liked, with the fox.
Exactly, with foxes. And I think the other thing is, why maybe a good way for us to end this is, that is, in all our films, probably the only song we've done, and maybe will ever do, where we will collect royalties.
I doubt that. I have a feeling you have many songs in your future.
Oh,
but thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thanks.